Jack Harding's one of the most successful drivers in the championship, although he's never actually won the championship itself. But Jack Harding is number 2 on the all-time win list. He has 21 career victories in this championship. The only driver with more is multiple former champion Luke Herbert, but Luke Herbert is not racing this year, instead focusing on running cars in his team, and one of those cars is that of Jack Harding. So the 2 most successful drivers in the championship history have teamed up this year. Jack Harding behind the wheel, Luke Herbert working on setting the cars up and running the team and making repairs where necessary. And it is quite funny that those 2 who had a fairly stormy relationship out on track are now working together to hopefully build a championship campaign for Jack Harding. It would be about time that Jack won this championship, some would say. Also, interestingly, because I like a good stat, Jack Harding is only 1 podium now behind Luke Herbert's all-time record. Luke finished on the podium 63 times in his MX-5 SuperCup career, which I must stress is not necessarily over. There's every chance he'll get back behind the wheel at some point in the future, but for now he's not racing. Jack Harding is, and he has just 1 fewer podium. So if Jack can be on the podium in both races today, he will overtake his team boss, Luke Herbert, on the all-time podium finishers list, which will be quite funny. Jack Harding also is level with Luke Herbert on total number of fastest laps. They both have scored 20 fastest laps, which are worth bonus championship points, remember, 2 bonus points for taking the fastest lap in a race. They've both done that 20 times over their careers, so if Harding gets 1 today, again, he overtakes Luke Herbert on that fastest laps list. In a moment or 2, I believe, we can start having a look through how the grid's going to line up for this second race. As I said, it's based upon the second fastest lap tyres from qualifying yesterday, so it should be Patrick Fletcher, who is on pole position with Sam Smith, the reigning champion, alongside him. Adam Bessel and Michael Nibbs make up row 2, ahead of John Langridge and Jack Harding, yesterday's runner-up, 6th on the grid. He started yesterday in 8th, though, I seem to recall, so he's got 2 less positions to make up this time. James Cossons is 7th. That's the first of the Aidan Hills prepared cars, with Simon Baldwin alongside him on row 4. Will Blackwell Chambers, former Mark 1 champion, struggled a bit yesterday. He qualified in the top 10 yesterday too, but finished in the end some way down the order. Will Blackwell Chambers was 16th by the flag. Never did quite get to the bottom of what happened to him. Declan Lee, though, lines up alongside him on that 5th row, ahead of Martin Tolley and Lee Britton. Then it's Richard Amos and Christopher Richardson, on row 7, with Luke Whitworth and Tom Smith making up the 8th row of the grid. Then Alex Miller and Nick Dunn, James Warrior and Kevin Sylvain round out the top 20, but there are plenty more to come. 39 hopefully will get on the grid. Simon Fleet and Braden Fletcher next. Braden's one to watch, should be inside the top 10, but had mechanical issues in qualifying, and then an off in race number 1 meant that he didn't finish the first race of the season and has to start down in 22nd on the grid for this one. Nick Rutter and Clyde Powells make up the 12th row, ahead of, on row 13, Scott Wright and Tom Selden. Bruce Robinson and Javier Brook are next, with Matt Pitford and George Grant on the 15th row. Stephen New and Martin Canning are on row 16 together. Then it's Clive Chisnall, Benjamin Greenhill even, Seamus Heaney, Michael Close, Martin Heath, Ivor Mayers and Duncan Harris, who had a mechanical issue in qualifying caused by hitting a curb too hard coming out of Sunny. The car cut out on him, and they've obviously worked out what the issue was, and I'm sure that he won't be going anywhere near that curb anytime soon. So, board being held up, then the cars are about to be released from the assembly area. Yesterday's race, by the way, did see, I seem to recall, a new lap record. No, it didn't actually. It was one of the few championships yesterday that didn't break the race lap record, so maybe that will happen today. Luke Herbert, who else, has the race lap record from 2019, a 1:36.005. The fastest lap yesterday was set by Jack Harding, which was a 1:36.249. Incidentally, that 1:36.249 is fractionally underneath the existing qualifying record, which was set by Jack Harding, but he did it in the race, so it doesn't really count. The main ones people tend to take notice of, though, are the race lap records, and that's the one that Luke Herbert holds. That's the one that his driver, Jack Harding, will be trying to take away from him. Jack, ironically, in the weekend in which he joins Luke's team, could actually take quite a lot of quite nice statistics away from Luke Herbert. But Luke, as a competitor himself, will understand then actually being able to prepare a car that's able to go out there and go that quickly is almost as satisfying as being able to drive one that can go and do that. Also, another one of Luke's drivers, Lee Britton, I was being told earlier on, making his, or he's very new to racing. He's made his debut this weekend, and yesterday was his first race, and he qualified really well, actually. Lee Britton is starting this race mid-pack, I seem to recall. Higher than mid-pack, really. 12th on the grid, Lee Britton, which is a very, very good debut. And he had a bit of a bad start to yesterday's race, dropped down the order at turn 1, but did manage to recover in the end to 25th place. But obviously starting in the top dozen this time, he'll be hoping that he can challenge for a top 10 finish here in his second ever appearance on track. Field works his way through one of the Paul Sheard cars there, the number 17 of Nick Dunn, another series regular. Nick has been racing in the championship now for a few years, and did actually set fastest lap in one of the races last year. I can't remember if that was a rain-affected race, but Nick's had flashes of speed in the past. The championship last year, of course, was won by Sam Smith, from James Cossons in second. James starting this race from 7th on the grid, having taken a 6th place finish yesterday. Was widely anticipated to be one of the big championship challengers this year. Needs to find a bit more speed if he can in the second and third races of the weekend. You can just see him there with the blue and orange car pulling out of the final hairpin. James Cossons being run by Aidan Hills, who himself is a 9-time race winner in the MX-5 Super Cup. A lot of ex-drivers now are sort of slowly coming around to the idea that you can make a bit of money from running cars in this championship for other drivers, and maybe saving up a few pennies to go and race either again in this championship or possibly move on up the racing ladder. A lot of MX-5 drivers I know have been looking at Ginettas recently, but it's good to see this championship still thriving, and you're about to see why, because the racing is some of the best around in the UK, and a massive grid of cars, 39 of them. They're still pouring round the final few corners. The leaders will have been sat on the grid for well over 60 seconds by the time the back of the grid lines up. Any heat that you have built up in those tyres, long gone by the time the green flag waves at the back and the red light procedure starts. You can see some cars at the back of the grid actually having to stop and wait for those ahead of them to make their way through the final couple of corners. Michael Close there, one of those that was, he's running a few cars this weekend, 2 Mark 1s, and running his own Super Cup car. Right at the back of the grid there, Duncan Harris, the black car with the purple roll cage. At the front, though, the black and red stripe number 29 car is Patrick Fletcher, former Renault Clio front runner, and Sam Smith alongside him, Mark 1 winner, Super Cup champion now as well. Adam Bessel, another driver that's moved up from the Mark 1 championship. He's the black, green and yellow number 4 car, starting 3rd on the grid. Michael Nibbs is racing in both this championship and the Mark 1 championship. He had a podium yesterday in the Mark 1s, just missed out on one yesterday in Super Cup, but he is the sort of grey and red number 82 car that lines up on the outside of row 2. John Langridge is next. He's the grey, white and green car, 3rd car on the inside lane. And then the red, the sort of diagonally striped red and grey 43 car, that's Jack Harding, 2nd yesterday, stormed his way through the field. They found an issue with the car actually after qualifying yesterday, which they realised was costing them about a second a lap because it was way down on power. So now they've fixed it. He's back to his best. Round number 2 then of the Mazda MX-5 Super Cup gets underway here from Croft. Good start there by Jack Harding, immediately cuts to the middle of the road. The front row men seem to get away initially quite evenly. Are they side by side heading into Clervaux? You'd imagine they probably are. No, Fletcher's got the advantage. Sam Smith 2nd, then side by side for 3rd place there as they hop and skip over the curbs and round into 4th place. Look, has come Jack Harding already. I think that's Nibbs that's in 3rd. Cars in the gravel further back. Cones going flying, as often seems to be the case. And there's one car gone around. That's Mike Close, I think, isn't it? The 117, who has had a spin. Michael Close, unfortunately, goes around at the first corner. I'm amazed he was the only car that spun. Close Racing driver and team owner unfortunately rejoins at the back of the field. Fletcher then leads, Smith 2nd, Nibbs 3rd, Harding 4th, 5th position is Adam Bessel there, the number 4 car. John Langridge 6th, James Cossons 7th, and Simon Baldwin looks to be in 8th position. I think that's Will Blackwell Chambers still 9th as well, so Blackwell Chambers has had a much better start this time. The battle is on at the front though. Sam Smith going after Patrick Fletcher. Smith was 3 times a race winner last year, and he is looking to try and add to that tally now in his second season. Won the championship in his debut and actually won his second ever MX5 Super Cup race at the start of last year. So Sam Smith straight away was on the pace in the Super Cup, and having already won one championship, now wants to try and go and win a second one if possible. Wants to try and win this race first of all if he can. He's right on the tail of Patrick Fletcher, but everyone's starting to bunch up. Someone was sideways in the background there. Cold tyres again can be tricky. Grooved tyres for these cars, semi-slicks essentially, so you do still have to get quite a bit of temperature in them. James Cossons up the inside of John Langridge. Langridge out onto the grass, and that's going to send everyone scattering behind. Simon Baldwin and Will Blackwell Chambers pull alongside him, 3 wide down the pit straight. That's always likely to end in tears by the time they reach this real pinch point at Clervaux Corner. Hop over the curbs into Hawthorne. You can see the mud on the front of Jack Harding's car. There'll be mud on the back of John Langridge's car as well now, because he's been through the gravel trap. Oh, and there's contact, and Blackwell Chambers goes around in front of the pack. Cars are going to make contact as they try and avoid him. He's stuck in the middle of the road, and thankfully Will Blackwell Chambers manages to pull the car out of the way. He is having no luck at all this weekend, Will Blackwell Chambers, who on his day was unbeatable in the Mark 1 Championship in recent years, but the transition to Super Cup, he's got the speed, but he's just not got the look that's required, and that bit of contact there, unfortunately, I didn't quite spot who it was, so we'll try and drag a replay out maybe of what happened there through Hawthorne. We'll get to it later though, because at the moment the race is still very lively throughout the field, and Will Blackwell Chambers now goes on another recovery drive. And of course, because the results of this race have a bearing on the grid for the final race, this is not the race that you want to be finishing out of position unless you can benefit from the reversed grid. He fell a lot further down the order than he'd like to for that. He was running in 8th position at the time. He'll have fallen well outside the top 20 or 30 probably after that spin. Right, back to the leading quintet really now coming through. It's Fletcher leading, Smith second, Nibs third, Harding fourth and Bessel fifth. Through the complex into the hairpin, Patrick Fletcher defends the inside. Everyone's sort of covering each other there. Jack Harding almost makes a bit of a lock-up. He was talking to me about some of the overtakes that he made yesterday and how you've really got to trust the driver that you're overtaking if you're going to make that move into the hairpin, because you have to fully commit to it. And if the car you're passing doesn't see you coming and turn into you, then you both could be out on the spot with damage. So he thought about going up the inside of Michael Nibs, decided not to, and he lives to fight another day. James Cossons there in 6th, starting to tag on to this group. And then, of course, it was Blackwell Chambers who was kind of in that next group, wasn't he, with Langridge still in 7th, despite that off he had. But that's created a bit of separation now between the top 6 and everybody else. Langridge 7th, Simon Baldwin 8th. Lee Britton, is 9th now in his 2nd ever race. And rounding out the top 10 is the number 41 car, and that will be Tom Smith from 16th on the grid. He gained a lot of ground yesterday as well. Out of Tower go the leaders. 20-minute race this, by the way, so plenty of time for them to bed themselves in. 137.191 is the fastest lap so far. Still a good second away from the lap record, but unlike a lot of the championships racing here today, these cars and most of these drivers have raced on this resurfaced Croft circuit, so the lap times may be a little bit tougher to beat. Car off there, but sunny. We've lost the 11 of Scott Wright somewhere, so I think Scott Wright is off up at the far end of the circuit. But he was running, he qualified 25th, so sort of mid-grid. Don't know whether he jumped or whether he was pushed, but he's out of the race anyway. Oh, Michael Nibs being pushed hard here by Jack Harding, and it's forced him into a mistake. He locks up as well going into the hairpin. Harding's going to try and cut back to the late apex, carry more speed off the corner. He pulls alongside Michael Nibs, but he's going to be forced to the outside line into Clervaux. You can't really go around the outside here unless you're really willing to risk it all going horribly wrong. Wheel to wheel for 3rd place then. Down to turn 1. Jack Harding's got most of his car ahead, though. He might just do this. Michael Nibs is going to try and stand his ground on the inside. He hits the curb and Harding goes through. Jack Harding into P3. Nice move that. Forced the mistake out of Michael Nibs. He tried to force the issue at the hairpin a lap ago, decided not to, and it's paid dividends because a lap later Nibs makes the mistake and through into a podium place goes Jack Harding. But of course Patrick Fletcher and Sam Smith have now escaped a little bit further up the road after that. And the last thing Harding wants to be doing is defending now from a resurgent Nibs who wants to try and get back into that 3rd position. If Michael's got any sense here, he'll work with Jack Harding, who's clearly got the pace to go after those top 2. And then hopefully Jack can drag both Michael and Adam Bessel back onto the tail of the leading 2 cars. Through the Jim Clark S's go the top 2, Patrick Fletcher and Sam Smith. Sam Smith sitting in the wheel tracks of Fletcher, trying to get that little bit of a slipstream. Harding next in third. Michael Nibbs, getting it a bit wrong. Bessel almost saw a chance to get up the inside there. Now Jack Harding's in third. It will be interesting actually to see what his lap time is. I doubt that he lost too much time from that overtake either, because he went into the first corner still on the correct racing line, if you like. So this will be a representative lap in clean air for Harding. Let's see, A, if he's quicker than the leading two, and B, how close he can get to that lap record pace that Luke Herbert set a couple of years ago. Out of the hairpin, I definitely think he's a bit closer. He started the lap about a second behind Sam Smith in second place. This time around, Sam Smith goes through in second, Jack Harding goes through in third with a new fastest lap of 36.816, and he was about 2/10 quicker than the leaders that time. So the gap is coming down fractionally here. Sam Smith actually losing a bit of touch to Patrick Fletcher as Nibbs again gets sideways. He's really struggling with the rear of the car there, isn't he? Almost like he's got the car set up a bit too soft. Possibly anticipated it was going to be a bit wetter out there for this race, but he just can't get the power down through Hawthorne. That's losing him. It cost him time a lap ago, and it's cost him time again there to Jack Harding, who continues to chase after the top two. Jack, local-ish driver to Croft. This is his local circuit, although he said he hasn't done as many laps around here as people might think, because unfortunately not all championships come and race at Croft every year. It's a long way to travel, of course, for some drivers based down south, so more central racetracks sometimes take the place on the calendar over this one. But Croft is a brilliant place to come and visit. Really friendly staff here. It's a nice place to be, to watch racing or to race itself, and the drivers really do enjoy the high-speed, demanding nature of this circuit. So Jack Harding, he doesn't necessarily have the local advantage you might expect, does enjoy driving this circuit, and he's going well now, because you can really see he's gaining on the leaders. Sam Smith has regrouped a bit on this lap as well, because he'd lost time to Patrick Fletcher on the previous lap. Fletcher was about half a tenth quicker than him. This time, though, Sam Smith is about half a tenth behind him as they come out of the final hairpin and across the start-finish line again. The top three then concertinaing together as we tick towards half-race distance. Just under 12 minutes to go. Harding sets the fastest lap, a 1:36.624, and they head down towards that first corner once again. 1.1 seconds covering the top three. So it is all starting to build quite nicely now as we move towards the halfway point of the race. Fletcher then the leader, Sam Smith second. This battle a bit further back is Chris Richardson in the red and black number 96 car, and Alex Miller behind him, number 7, and then an awful lot of cars stacked up behind them as well. Where's Will Blackwell-Chambers? That's worth checking in on, isn't it? There he is at the back of this pack. So Will Blackwell-Chambers, the white and red car. At the front of the group, you've got the 47 car, which is Warrior trying to come through and trying to get himself to the head of this particular train of cars. Where did Warrior start? James Warrior was 19th on the grid, and he's trying to get past Xavier Brook, but there's Will Blackwell-Chambers, the white car with the red highlights, going up the inside there. Oh, that was close. He almost made the move stick. That, I think, is the number 90, is it not, of Simon Robinson that he was trying to find a way up the inside of. But Will Blackwell-Chambers is not marching towards the front. He was 28th at the end of the previous lap, having picked up 2 spots on the previous one. There he goes, flashes through the shot, and then there, the number 66 car is at the head of that next queue. Wherever you look, there's great battling going on, isn't there? 66 is running down in 30th position. Goes to show you don't need to be right in front of the field to have someone to race with. Martin Heath, that is. Still, this 47 car can't get through, can it? This is James Cosson's old car being run by Aidan Hills, and he's got the Clapham North liveried number 69 car ahead. 69, of course, is George Grant. So James Warrior trying to find a way through here, not really able to do it at the moment. He's got the slipstream down the pit straight. Up ahead, this battle's getting even more intense now. More cars joining in the fun. I don't think we've had any positional changes here. Although Braden Fletcher, who is towards the back of that group, has just lost a position, I noticed, to the 419 of Martin Canning. The two cars just a bit distant from that group. Jack Harding's in second place, though. We've had a change for second. Jack Harding ahead now of Sam Smith. There he is, look. So Jack Harding, who started the lap 3/10 behind him, is into second position. He's just done the fastest lap as well, a 1:36.413. Keeps improving on that lap time with every lap that he completes. And now he sets after Patrick Fletcher. Now, I don't think he got into second place this early yesterday, so he's left himself more time now to do something about the race leader. And he's got to catch him first, of course, but that's not hopefully going to take too long. He's only half a second or so behind. And Jack Harding, in the Luke Herbert Racing run car, is, well, actually not quite as quick as Patrick Fletcher that time. Patrick Fletcher a couple of tenths quicker. And Harding maybe a little bit preoccupied watching Sam Smith behind him. Through Hawthorne. Into the chicane once again then. They're dropping Michael Nibbs in fourth. Bessel in fifth position still. No changes inside the top 10, although we do have a change for 11th with Tom Smith losing out now to car 757, which is Luke Whitworth. Luke Whitworth, having started 15th, is now into 11th position. Martin Tolley, his next target. Just under 8 minutes still to go in this second round of the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup Championship. Patrick Fletcher, having taken his first ever victory yesterday, is looking now to double up and take his second career win. There have been 23 different winners over the years. A championship that began back in 2013, I want to say. I've got the list of results for the championship in a folder right next to me. I'm pretty sure it was 2013. Andrew Clarkson won the championship that year. Yes, it was. And Andrew Clarkson won the first ever race at Castle Combe, a race that had about 8 or 9 cars on the grid. And now here we are with 39 of them entered at Croft. But yeah, championship approaching its 10th year in a couple of years' time. And it has turned into one of the big success stories of British Club Motorsport because it's always been well supported, it's always produced great racing, and I think we're setting up for another good one here because Jack Harding is now starting to inch back towards Patrick Fletcher, who boots the cone out of the way through Clervaux. The marshals must get sick and tired of moving those cones back into position between races because they never survive the distance without being moved out of the way. And in fact, one of the Mark 1 drivers picked up a couple of those cones yesterday and scattered them around the whole track. So the marshals clearly have got them back now, but it's part and parcel of being a marshal. You're not just recovering broken or broken down racing cars, but having to rearrange the circuit furniture as well to make sure the track is in pristine condition. Jack Harding's car clearly in pristine condition, although it's covered in mud at the front, but under the hood, everything working well because he's reeling the leader in again. There, by the way, is Simon Baldwin. This is for 8th position, and Luke Britton, in only his second ever race, the red number 50 car behind him, is all over him. He's got Martin Tolley, who's one of the most experienced MX-5 drivers in the country, albeit mainly in Mark 1 cars, trying to come past him. They go up through Barcroft as Jack Harding is now right on the tail of Patrick Fletcher. So battle joined for the lead. 5.5 minutes to go. And one of these two drivers you would suspect is likely to win the race. But Patrick Fletcher made his car pretty wide yesterday. Didn't allow Jack Harding through in the final few laps. But he's now got to withstand this pressure for a bit longer. And look, only 1 or 2 corners of defensive driving have brought Sam Smith back onto their tail again. So it is actually still a 3-way fight here. Across the line they go, past the pit lane. Teams cheering them on from the pit wall. And they head into the first corner at Clervaux. Patrick Fletcher has to be inch perfect now. The slightest mistake and Jack Harding's going to pounce. Right over the curbs they go. Wider line taken by Fletcher, which means that he carries a bit more speed through the middle of the turn, but did briefly look as though he'd left the door open for Harding on the inside line. Jack Harding was a full half second quicker last time around. That is an impressive pace. He came on strong in the second half of race 1 as well, so maybe he's got the car set up to be stronger when the tyres are fully up to temperature. And towards the end of the race, of course, the car's handling will change over the course of 20 minutes as the tyre temperatures build and the tyre wear goes up and up as well. Through the Jim Clark S's again. Harding sizing Fletcher up, tries to carry as much speed through there as possible, just jinks to the inside, just trying to suggest to Patrick Fletcher that he's going to attack, and it worked, look, because Fletcher drives defensively into Sonny, but because it's a slightly banked corner, you can do that without drifting too wide on the exit. So he holds his line, holds his position, and holds his nerve, crucially. Didn't make a mistake there, despite the pressure Harding was putting him under. Harding looks to the inside. Oh, that is a car in the barriers. That's Alex Miller in the barriers at the entrance to the complex. He's gone straight on at the point at which Jason Plato and Gabriele Tarquini had a big accident about 20 years ago in the British Touring Car Championship. That's the very same tyre wall they ended up in. Thankfully, Alex doesn't appear to have hit it quite as hard as they did, but it's still a big old shunt if you go off there, and that will likely have done a bit of damage to the front of that number 7 car. It's a shame for Alex. He was running just outside the top dozen or so, I seem to recall. Leaders are heading into the first corner. There they go. And, Sam Smith, very sideways in third position. Running out of time now, though. 3.5 minutes to go. That's Miller's car, off in the barriers. Actually, I don't think it's gone in quite as heavily as it looks, but of course, because of all of this overnight rain that I mentioned, as soon as you get on that grass, you are not going to stop before you hit the barriers. And Alex has found that out, unfortunately, the hard way. Leading trio back through Tower Corner. We've had some changing further back in the top 10, incidentally. Martin Tolley's ahead of Simon Baldwin and Lee Britton. Lee Britton into 10th position too, has got himself back ahead of Whitworth. And of course, everyone from 13th on back has gained ground because Alex Miller has deposited himself in the tyres at the complex. Through Barcroft, over the curves, Jack Harding. Well, he's done the easy bit. He's caught Patrick Fletcher, but Patrick is not going to make it easy for him to pass him now, nor should he. Patrick Fletcher definitely targeting a championship campaign in 2021, and on the pace that he's shown this weekend, you'd imagine he should be able to do that. This is a track he's always gone well at, though. Remember on his first visit here a couple of years ago, he was almost in contention for his first ever podium. Didn't quite get it, but he was very strong indeed. And Jack Harding with a really late lunge there at the inside of Fletcher. That caught me by surprise, almost caught Fletcher by surprise as well. I'm not convinced there was ever a gap, but remember what I said, Jack was telling me, you have to commit to that move. You can't have a half look at the inside of the hairpin. You have to go for it, and he just bailed out of that in time because there was going to be contact otherwise. So Fletcher hangs on. That will have caught his attention though, and there's still 2 more laps of this to go. Got 2 minutes left on the clock. They're lapping in the 1 minute 36s and 7s. So 2 more laps of the Croft circuit to go. Just over 2.1 miles in length this track. And with a good number of overtaking opportunities around the circuit, this battle certainly ain't over. Harding now looks to the inside at Tower. Fletcher keeps reacting to these little moves, doesn't he? And Harding now goes for it up the inside. He did this to somebody yesterday. They almost make contact, and still Fletcher is able to hang on. This is brilliant defensive driving from Fletcher. Jack Harding is trying every trick in the book. He made a brilliant pass on, I think it might have been Michael Nibbs. Forgive me if it wasn't, but one of the front runners that Harding passed yesterday at Tower, in a very similar move, was basically goading them into thinking that he wasn't going to attack, and then right as they turned in, he turned in a little bit earlier and managed to go through. But this time Patrick Fletcher kept him behind again. Harding jigs to the inside into the complex. There's almost contact between the two. Harding's getting frustrated now, but he has to be careful. There's still another race to go, remember. He doesn't want to get a penalty, and also he doesn't want to allow Sam Smith through into second place while he's at it. Fletcher this time locks up into the hairpin, gets the car stopped though, thankfully, and they go out onto the pit straight for what will be the final time. I think, yes, 30 seconds left on the clock, so 1 more lap to go. They head into the first corner. Patrick Fletcher with the lead, Jack Harding second, Sam Smith thinking, go on, hit him, take each other off, because then he will be through into the race lead. Not the way you necessarily want to win a race, but Sam Smith knows from his years of experience that you take the bits of good fortune whilst you can. Is he going to get involved, or is he going to leave Jack Harding to it? He certainly dropped back from Harding through the first sequence of corners. Now, Jack has tried it at Tower, he's tried it at the hairpin, he's had a look at Sonny as well. They're the 3 best overtaking possibilities on the track. Does he have anything else in his locker that is going to allow him to come through and take that 22nd career victory Not at Tower, he hasn't. Patrick Fletcher's managed to hold him off there. Good exit from the corner by Jack Harding as well. Gets in the wheel tracks of Patrick Fletcher now toward the Jim Clark S's. Through the left, Sam Smith has really bailed out of this now, hasn't he? Just doesn't have the pace that these two have. Oh, Harding couldn't be any closer, tries to get up the inside into Croft. He's not fully alongside though. Fletcher hangs on, pulls to the inside, or the middle of the road at least, to defend into Sonny. Jack Harding almost pushing him round the corner, but Fletcher is placing the car absolutely perfectly. He's not over defending, he's not weaving, he's not blocking, he's just frustrating Jack Harding by keeping the car exactly where Harding wants to put his car, and so far so good. Just 3 more corners to go for Patrick Fletcher. Harding's got 1 more opportunity realistically to do it, and surely Fletcher's going to defend like his life depends on it into the hairpin. He does, he goes to the inside line, Harding to the outside, Fletcher locks up again. Harding tries to get the cut back, he's not quite going to get there though. Patrick Fletcher, for the second time in his MX-5 Super Cup career, is going to come home to take another hard-fought race victory. Checkered flag for Patrick Fletcher. Jack Harding in second and Sam Smith in third. Another nail-biting finish, and once again it's Fletcher, Harding and Smith who make up the podium positions. Michael Nibbs in fourth, Adam Bessel fifth, James Cossins with sixth, and John Langridge even comes home in seventh. Now, 8th position has been quite a tasty battle, hasn't it? They're a long way behind the top 7, but here they come. Martin Tolley was 8th, ahead of Simon Baldwin. I think that's still the order as they come through. Is that still Tolley at the head of the group? Yes, it was, yes, ahead of Simon Baldwin and Tom Smith, who got ahead of Whitworth on the last lap. And then Lee Britton gets himself a 12th position from that one, so hangs on to the position that he started from. And there, no, that's not Will Blackwell Chambers, is it? Yes, Blackwell Chambers was 20th at the end of another frustrating race. Where was he yesterday? 18th, I think, wasn't he? Well, breathless stuff from the MX-5 Super Cup there. Oh, another car. Oh, that's Lee Britton. Oh, no, Lee Britton, after I was just picking him up, is in the barriers at Sunny. So on for a 12th place finish he was. That promotes Nick Dunning to 12th and Braden Fletcher 13th. Where did Braden start? He was 20-something, wasn't he? He was... there are so many on the grid, it's hard to find people sometimes, isn't it? Braden Fletcher was... having not finished yesterday, 22nd. So yeah, mid-grid for Braden Fletcher, gets himself into 13th. They've had a few mechanical issues with that car this weekend as well, but he is at least going to be reasonably happy with that.
Well, heavens are starting to open here at Croft, so it should make the racing pretty interesting going forwards, but fascinating race at the front for race number 2 here at the MX-5 Super Cup. There's your race winner, which is Patrick Fletcher, just jumping out. It's like buses, isn't it, really? Wait for 1 victory and 2 come along at once at the start of the season. And I know he was delighted at that. He was double fist bumping at the in the car as he pulled up. We just let him take his crash helmet off and the hands device. And we'll have a chat to both classes, the pro and club class. Was Luke Whitworth who got the victory in club class from Kevin Sylvain and Richard Amos. But we will have a chat when he's all sourced and ready with our double race winner now, Patrick Fletcher. I just said it feels like buses, doesn't it? You wait for ages for a 1 race victory and 2 come along at once.
Yeah, I must confess that second one felt a lot more enjoyable than the first, because I got a breakaway in the first race, and that sort of made it a bit too comfortable. Whereas that race, Jack was on me a lot sooner, and Sam was a lot closer to me at the beginning as well. So I felt like I had to push, and I felt a bit more switched on, and I think that was more of a race as opposed to the first one. So that was really good.
I think what's incredible is that people don't know is that you don't run with a team, you run independently. So it's kind of you do all the work yourself, but you set up. And it just proves that, you know, team or independent, anyone can run at the front and win a race. And you've done superbly running an independent effort, basically by yourself, to run a car as quick as this.
Well, I have got a lot of people behind me. So as you can see, my dad and Andrew Tibbs in the pit lanes here already. And I've got a lot of people who support me at home. So yeah, I've got a lot of support as well. And luckily these cars, they don't have a lot of aerodynamics, but they have no aerodynamics. So they're not too complicated. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to driving and then get used to the car.
So now, of course, the draw means it's going to switch you around in the top 10 or so. So you're hoping, obviously, to be as high as possible, but you'd have to get your elbows out for race 3.
Yeah, race 3 will be interesting. Luckily, Jack's come from 7th, and I can't remember where he came from in the second race. So Jack will be in front of me, so hopefully I can pull him through.
Well on a double victory. Hopefully it's 3 in a row.
We'll try, but I think it might be wet as well, so a bit of a lottery.
Fingers crossed. Well done. Let's see if we can grab Jack, who, let's get this on camera actually. Look at this. Rivals in the past, and Jack Kyle look having a casual chat as if you've been friends for ages, but 2 second place to start off the season, and again giving Patrick some grief as well.
Yeah, no, well done to Patrick. Obviously he's got his first wins this week, and it's nice to see other people at the front, and I prefer it to be me, but it's nice to see other people there. But yeah, no, I've won the first 2 races round here before, and I know how easy it is to defend. So Sam was really good to me, in all fairness. He didn't fire me out at all. Pretty much, as soon as I got to the back, we kind of moved over, and I think he was thinking the same. I need to take some points. If I could take points out of Patrick and move him further back, that'd be better. But once you get there, he's quick. I mean, I'm in the slipstream, and I ain't gaining. So either we're miles down on power, or he's got a good strong car there. Do you know what I mean? So we did our best, but now he put up a good fight. But yeah, no, we'll see what race 3 is. But I've had plenty of practice overtaking now, and now it's these boys' turn, isn't it?
Yeah, you get a chance, won't you?
Yeah, exactly. So let's see how they do, and I'll have a bit of practice already. So hopefully it'll be good. So massive thanks to APH Science, 2 Racing, and Luke Herbert. Obviously, the car absolutely phenomenal. Yeah,
can I have a chat with Luke and get your car set up a race?
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Good stuff. Let's see if we can bring. Where is he? He's over on the pit wall. See if we can get Sam over for 3rd place. Just casually chilling on the pit walls, our defending champion, but we'll have a chat with him and see how he felt about that. Sam, 2 3rd places again. I know you want to be winning races stuff, but it's still really solid points for the start of the championship so far.
Yeah, everyone here wants to win. I didn't have the pace for Patrick. I could stay with him for 3 laps, but ultimately I knew I didn't have the pace to get past him. So when Jack caught me, I did make a couple of mistakes. So I actually let Jack pass down the straight, and thought if I can go with him, which worked for 2 laps, and he checked out as well. But sometimes you're just not on form on your weekend, and we're just damage limitation for us at the moment. But happy with 3rd, good start to the season. Obviously we want to be on the top step, but our time will come, because the car's getting better every time I get in it. So
of course the reverse grid means it will put you ahead of these 2 in whichever order it gets pulled out, so you might have to get your elbows out and get a bit defending on the start, maybe.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That'll be interesting, won't it? I'm crap in the wet as well, so we'll see what happens.
Good stuff. Well, hopefully it's not too wet for you, but either way, well done with another 3rd place. It's really good points, and fingers crossed for later on.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, Scott. Cheers.
Good stuff. Now we have got our clubman top 3 who are over on the pit wall, so we need to see if we can bring them over. I just wondered, making his way over now is our clubman race winner for the first time, because with it's not bad for a first weekend, is it? Jump straight in and get yourself a class win.
Yeah, it's been all right. A good race yesterday and today. It's both been scrappy throughout all the races, but it's been good. It's been good to learn how to race again with the cars.
Yeah, you seem to be enjoying yourself in these MX-5s.
Yeah, it is. It's good fun. I mean, it's first car racing. Just done karting since before this, but yeah, there's a lot to learn still. Hopefully I can get a bit better in quality and then be a bit further up the grid.
So what are your first impressions of like? I don't really call you a novice because you're not even racing for a while, but a novice in this championship with the cars the first time. How does it feel for a newcomer coming in with these cars?
It's good. I just need to earn a bit more, a bit of respect from the other drivers, so they start to work with me a bit better. But yeah, it's just good learning how to race again and learn all the new tracks. So
yeah, good stuff. Well, you've got some silverware to take away from it, so best of luck for race 3 later on today, and hope you can get another one.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. Right, we all very quickly see if we've got 2nd and 3rd over there. If we can bring these 2 over, we can bring these 2 over to have a chat, and we'll see what they reckon. So we've got Kevin here.
Yep.
Good stuff. So 2nd place for you, Kevin, again. So you saw it. You're getting your grooving with this circuit racing lot.
It was good to actually have a few scars on the car this time. I was a bit precious with it, but now we've got on this. Now we'll get our head down and do some more.
Yeah, you seem to be finding your feet with car racing now. 2 2nd places. You seem to be getting to the groove now.
Yeah, we struggled yesterday with setup, but Brian went out this morning. We're going to do that endurance race. So Brian went out this morning and sort of played with the car, and yeah, the car was mega. Absolutely the best it's been all weekend. So yeah, confidence is there.
Yeah, hoping for more in race 3.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, it's going to get tougher the further you move up the grid. So let's just get the over and done with.
Great stuff. Well done. And we'll see you go. You might possibly help us grab Richard over there in 3rd place if we can get him, so we can have a chat with see how he found that one. Of course, Richard, who's You have to be careful to watch them on the stream because they have two identical looking cars. I suspect that he's got one of last year's ones. But Richard, good to have you on the podium. It's almost hard to tell you Sam apart with obviously the same cars on the grid, with the same looking cars. But third place in club class, good start so far.
Yeah, it's not too bad, to be honest. I've struggled to finish a race up until now, so yeah, just nice to finish one, even with the mistakes that I made, and yeah, it's just a lot to work on.
New car looks good, obviously working under Brian, also alongside Sam as your teammate, so it looks as though you're getting stronger every race.
Yeah, trying to. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, but it's good to have Sam alongside me just to kind of give me, you know, the markers where I need to be, and yeah, it's doing a good job.
Fingers crossed for race 3.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, bit of rain, that'd be great, wouldn't it?